You can't wait for the new Deadpool movie to come out and need some filler to help pass the time. Or you already watched the movie and desperately want more Deadpool, I've got you. There is a Deadpool game which everyone seems to have forgotten about. And I thought to myself, I will play this licensed piece of garbage so you don't have to.
Oh god, don't do this to me.
But you know what? It was surprisingly good, and if you like Deadpool and action games and you don't mind a little jank that was common for that era of games, especially licensed ones, you could have a blast with it.
Let's fucking go!
Let's fucking go.
Okay, let's go.
So, what is this game about? Well, it's about...
Nothing. What does that mean? The show is about nothing.
No, seriously, it has a story, but I'm not sure I got it.
Wade, I need you to listen closely. I've time traveled from the future to bring you a dire warning about...
Oh god, here he goes again. He's not here 10 seconds before he starts boring us with his dire warning from the future crap.
Sinister has knocked out the X-Men by broadcasting...
We may want to pay attention. This could explain a critical plot point.
Which all hinges on you, Wade. Now here's the critical part.
It's so boring.
Damn it, Wade!
I know film and comic Deadpool breaks the fourth wall all the time, but this game doesn't even have a wall to begin with.
That wall.
What I understand is that Deadpool wants to get his own video game, and he wants it to be the most awesome game ever. So, in order to force them to cooperate, Deadpool sets off explosives at High Moon Studios. Yes, the real studio that developed this game. Deadpool doesn't like the script though.
Lame.
So he calls the studio multiple times during the story and he blows the budget, which leads to glitches and cheaply produced levels.
All of this just works. It's not, I'm not kidding.
So you see, the meta humor isn't subtle here. It is the whole premise and the running gag that runs through the whole game. Since that type of humor is so common and even a little overused nowadays, it can very well happen that at the end of the game you're like,
I'm so bored of your pop culture references and your cigarette-legged jeans.
However, I think the way it's implemented here is so blatantly overdone that it's almost like they're making fun of the meta humor itself. Kind of like a parody of cheap self-referential jokes, which ironically makes it work in my opinion, and even makes it feel kind of unique. One of the biggest points of criticism fans of the Deadpool comics seem to have is that Deadpool isn't really a tragic character in the game, like he apparently is in the comics, and I guess to some extent in the movies as well. Here in the game it's all about the fun and humor, but what I get from the story is that this is his video game. Everything kind of happens as he imagines it, so in my opinion it makes sense story-wise that it is a little more light-hearted than the actual comics. But I've never read any of them, so I can't judge the game on that base. What I have seen in real life, believe it or not, are women. Yes, sometimes I leave my mother's basement, where I obviously live, like every gamer does. Sometimes I even go out during bright daylight.
This is the skin of the killer, Bill.
And observe interactions between real women, and I can attest that they happen exactly like in this game.
I know! I can't believe she has 2% body fat. I mean, really? Oh my god, this conversation is so cliche. I know, right? We're so specifically written as female tropes, it's almost painful. Blah 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 blah. Blah 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 blah. Blah 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 blah. Blah blah blah. Blah blah blah.
That's how I like my female characters. Realistic and relatable. But the funniest part of the game is the way Deadpool moves in stealth sections. There are stealth sections, you ask? Yes, let's talk about the gameplay. Honestly, it is nothing to write home about, that's why I saved it for last. However, it isn't bad, and I know that's a low standard to have, but licensed games can be pretty hit or miss. So I didn't go into this game with high expectations, because I haven't seen anyone talk about this game, and I was pleasantly surprised about how much fun I had. There's melee and ranged combat, oftentimes there's optional stealth, so you could choose to fight or sneak up on enemies, there's some platforming, and overall there is variety and change of pace. Now if it wasn't a Deadpool game and the sole focus of the game was the gameplay, it wouldn't be anything to talk about. But in combination with the IP, the fun writing and the absurd humor and scenarios, it is well worth experiencing in my opinion. It's got some pacing issues in the end. The last hour or so feels really stretched, where they keep enemy waves coming for what feels like an eternity to pad out the playtime. An issue that I criticized about the very first God of War game in one of my older videos, with the difference that God of War is 8 years older and still a masterpiece to this day. So Deadpool the video game isn't without its flaws. Yes, it is a repetitive 7th gen game, an era of games that had the word imperfection written all over it, and I didn't expect much, aside from the humor, but surprisingly I had a lot of fun with the game. There are many little surprises to mix up the usual gameplay.
What were you doing over there? Just a little surprise for our player. What?
So it really tries to keep you engaged as a player. I honestly think that this game is some kind of hidden gem, and in my opinion it deserves some retrospective love. So give it a try.
You're still here. It's over. Go home.